Today, we answer the age-old question: rice, rice cooker, or stovetop pot? Well, technically it's not an age-old question. It's a question though, and I want to know the answer. So come on, let's make it. All right, today we're gonna test rice cooker versus cooking it on the stovetop, but with an added twist. We are gonna make rice cooker meals in both a rice cooker and on the stovetop. So here's how we're going to do it. I've got 2 bowls here of white rice, 1 cup. Into our sauce pot, we're going to put about 1.5 cups of water. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that on the stovetop. We're going to put that on the stovetop. We're going to cook that on high until it starts to bubble. Now, while we wait for that, I've got my rice cooker here. Into the rice cooker, we're going to add our 1 cup of rice. Now, I mentioned that we are going to make these into meals. So in order to do that, we need to put the rest of our ingredients. So I've got some ground turkey here. We're going to take about 1/2 pound's worth, and I'm going to put it into this container. And what we're going to do is we are going to take a little bit of rice wine vinegar, a tablespoon's worth. We're going to take about a tablespoon's worth of sriracha. And this is all going to be about equal parts. A tablespoon's worth of this mild dumpling sauce. Okay. And then about a tablespoon's worth of chili garlic. Now, into this, I'm just going to mix all of these ingredients. Doesn't have to be perfect because this is ground turkey. So when it is cooked with all the other ingredients, we're just going to shred it up, make it into a nice little Asian turkey rice bowl of sorts. Okay, now that looks good. We're going to hit it with a little bit of this Spice House volcanic salt over the top. Give that one last good mix. Okay, now this looks good. I am going to then, into our rice cooker, just put over the top of the rice our ground turkey. I'm going to split half of this into here, half of it into our saucepan. And we're going to see how this works. Now, I like a little veg, so I chopped up some onions and some green peppers. We'll just sprinkle those over the top. Like so. And then to finish, can't have Asian without some sugar snap peas. So we'll just put a couple over the top there. Then we're going to fill this up to our line, put it on the rice cooker, put a lid on it, and get this thing cooking. I can hear our water starting to boil. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that and put the other ingredients and rice into there, and we'll see what happens. I will come back with a verdict, and we will taste test both and find out which one truly reigns supreme. I will see you shortly. What's going on, guys? We are back. Rice cooker done. Stovetop is done. All that's left to do is taste, try, rate, see what we think. Now, I will say, The stovetop, I just followed the packaged ingredients for the rice. I added a couple extra minutes with the meat in there, but this went for about 20 minutes, maybe 25. The rice cooker, on the other hand, took almost twice as long. It was about 35 to 40 minutes worth. Once the cooking light turns off and it's on warm, you still have to let it sit for an additional 15 to 20 minutes. Now, that being said, we'll see how they taste. So all we are going to do is take our lids off. We're going to take our rice and just kind of mash all of our ingredients here. Now, as I'm starting to do this, I do see the vegetables are cooked. Ground turkey's cooked. So to some degree, this is a success. It does indeed work. Now we'll do the same thing here with our stovetop rice. Just give this a good stir, good mix. Get all of these flavors incorporated. All right. Now, time to plate. We will do stovetop on my right. Make sure we get some veg in there. Okay. And we will do rice cooker on my left. Now, again, these are all the same ingredients. The only difference here is that we used a couple different cooking methods. One with the rice cooker, one on the stovetop. Okay, so rice cooker on my left, stovetop on my right. We taste. I will start with our traditional stovetop. Get some of that onion, the meat, the rice. Okay, rice is cooked. Ground turkey is cooked. I would say this would be good if you had a fried egg over the top of it, or I do think it needs some additional sauce. So if I were to do this again, I would actually add a lot more of that sauce that we made when we were tossing it in with the ground turkey. Okay, now rice cooker. Get some rice, get some meat, get some veg. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it definitely, everything is cooked through, everything is cooked nicely. Flavors are good from what was in there. I think, again, this could use maybe some scrambled egg and an additional some sauce. So if you have some in your fridge, you know, toss that over the top of it. But overall, question asked and answered, theory tested, and you know what? If you're in a pinch, absolutely could cook a whole meal, both on the stovetop or in a rice cooker. I don't necessarily think one is better than the other. Maybe the nice added bonus is that this can come out. You can throw this into your refrigerator with the lid on it, whereas the stovetop, you're going to have to dirty another dish. But overall, a great success. And what's nice is I've prepared all this, and this is what I will eat for the week. So this works out perfectly. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two, because I know I certainly did. What do you want to see me cook next? What would you like to see cooked in a rice cooker? Thank you. Smash all of those buttons. As always, this is Mr. C, the Cook and Teach. Be nice to each other out there. This is Mr. C, out.